Yo, what's up everybody? We're back again, Grapevine Sports. This episode we're going to be recapping the Super Bowl and debacle. Alright, so yesterday we had the Super Bowl with the Chiefs beating the 49ers 25-22 in an overtime thriller. A game that was filled with turnovers, interceptions, receiver touchdown passes, running backs running, and receivers catching. Yes, that was the very in-depth information that you paid for and signed up for. Anyway, let's get to the breakdown of the Super Bowl. The game started out pretty slow. We had we had fumbles, punts, field goals. It was kind of boring to start out the game. Let's start on the first drive. The 49ers got off to a good opening drive, only for McCaffrey to fumble the ball and the offensive guard for the 49ers to look at the ball and not do anything. And the ball was recovered by George Karlaftis, and then Kansas City took over. Then on the ensuing drive, I believe Kansas City went on to punt. And then that was the end of that. The 49ers then proceeded to get the ball back and kick a field goal. So then they went up 3-0, something slight. Then Kansas City drove down the field after a long pass from Patrick Mahomes and beat Cole Hardman. Isaiah Pacheco fumbled, and then that was the end of that. And then the next two drives was punt. Then the 49ers went down the field, and then on a backwards pass from Birdie to Juwan Jennings, and then he ended up passing it across the field back to McCaffrey, who ran it in for a touchdown. A trick play, and they got up 10-0. Then the next play, right before halftime, Kansas City got a field goal, and then they went into halftime. Now that halftime show wasn't great. It was kind of boring at times, kind of very meh. A bunch of old people running around the stage, dancing, singing songs that nobody under the age of 15 had heard of. I only heard about two of those songs, and Usher looked like he was going to tear his ACL every time he tried to do a dance. He looked like he was trying to be Michael Jackson out there. He needed to usher his way off the stage. He needed to usher his way off my TV screen. He needed to usher his way to a barbershop. He needed to usher his way to a dentist. But all jokes aside, it was alright. And then as soon as Alicia Keys came on there, she had the biggest voice crack I had ever seen. Her singing had more voice cracks than a middle school choir. There's so many voice cracks in that show. Then they had some rapper named Ludacris. That was Ludacris. The only thing Ludacris around there was his performance. Nobody understood it. There was also some guy out there looked like he was wearing a onesie fit for a astronaut. It was weird. But aside from all that, we came back from halftime after that weird display. We came back from halftime, and Patrick Mahomes proceeded to throw an interception. Then it went punt. 3 punts in a row, and then Kansas City got the ball back and went back for a field goal. And then there were 2 punts after that. Then Kansas City got a touchdown deep to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and they took a 13-10 lead. And then the 49ers went right back down the field, and a pass from Purdy to Juwan Jennings, and they scored right after that and made it 16-13. Then the Kansas City went back down the field and tied the game up at 16, and then the 49ers took the lead right back 19-16 to begin to end the third quarter. But on that particular drive, in the third quarter, it was 2nd and 5, and this is what I believe the turning point of the game. On 2nd and 5, they, instead of running the ball like they had been doing at 2:45 to go, because Kansas City only has 2 timeouts at this point, they decide to pass it. So they pass it to George Kittle, who gets no gain. You're at Kansas City's 35. It's fine. 2-minute warning. Instead of running the ball, they go on and pass it, which then stops the clock at 1:53. If you run the ball instead of running play action on 2nd and 5, you run the ball right there, that forces Kansas City to use their timeout, or they take it down to the 2-minute warning, and then it might be 3rd down and short. Then you might not have to pass on 3rd down. Even though me personally, I would have still passed it on 3rd down because Christian McCaffrey was killing the Chiefs in this game. He wasn't going to be stopped. He was going to get those yards. He had 2 plays to get 5 yards, and I think he was going to be able to get it right there. And if they were able to do that, they can ice the game right now. It doesn't even have to go to overtime. But instead of doing that, Kyle Shanahan, I believe, outsmarted himself and decided to pass the ball on 2nd and 5 and 3rd and 5 when you could have ran it on either one of those times, and then the game would have turned out completely different, and San Francisco could have won. But instead of doing that, they go for a pass on 3rd down. It was incomplete because a corner blitz up the middle, and Purdy was forced to throw the ball quickly before the receivers had a chance to get open. And then on the ensuing drive, Kansas City drove down the field. And the one thing that San Francisco needed to do, the one thing they had to do was guard Travis Kelce, make somebody other than Travis Kelce beat you. But Travis Kelce cuts the middle of the field and gets an in route. It takes it about 20 yards down the field to the San Francisco 7-yard line. If you can cover Travis Kelce, you can win the game. Double team it. Make somebody else beat you. But they let this man get cut wide open across the middle of the field. And he got all the way down to San Francisco, about inside the 10. And then Kansas City had a chance to score a touchdown, but they went for a back shoulder pass to Travis Kelce, was incomplete, knocked away by Fred Warner. And on that play, Rashee Rice was wide open in the middle of the field. Could have easily ran in for a touchdown, but Mahomes missed him looking for Kelce. And then the game went right to overtime. San Francisco went down, marched all the way down the field, but then the drive stalled out at about the 5-yard line, and they had to settle for a 27-yard field goal. I feel like on that drive they kind of went away from running the ball again, because on this similar situations before, 2nd and 4, on 3rd and 4 from the Kansas City 9, run the ball. McCaffrey is killing him. They got all the way down the field because of McCaffrey. He's taking them all the way down the field. Aside from a couple passes from Purdy, he's taking them all the way down the field. You have the chance to go up 7. But instead, they passed the ball way too much, and then it had to settle for a field goal when Kansas City stopped them, and then Kansas City proceeded to get the ball, and at 4th and 1, Mahomes rolled out the pocket for an 8-yard run. It was tackled by Fred Warner, and then Kansas City really didn't have any other difficulties on that drive, and the game-winning touchdown was Mahomes to Mecole Hardman for 3 yards, and then Kansas City won the game 25-22. I believe that San Francisco choked the game away, and they had it right. They had Kansas City right where they wanted them in the first half, up 10-0. In the second half, they were up 10-3. They were up 10-3 in the second half. In the second half, they were up 10-3. They had the ball at midfield, up 10-3 after Mahomes had just thrown an interception, but they went 3 and out, and they couldn't do anything because they passed the ball too much. And the play calling they had some weird play calls, but I mean, they had Mahomes right where they wanted him, and they kind of choked the game away. Now, aside from the other things that were involved with the game, Mahomes got won an MVP, and that's his 3rd MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and they got his 3rd championship ring, his 3rd and 5th in 5 years, 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. He's closing out on GOAT status. He's catching up to Tom Brady. He's on pace to get more Super Bowls than Tom Brady. I don't know what that means, but I guess everybody's wanting to call him the GOAT right now, which I'm not going to dispute. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. If he can continue to play the way he's playing, I don't see why he couldn't become the greatest quarterback of all time. But aside from all of that, we have the commercials, were also our main attraction of the Super Bowl, and the commercials weren't that great. None of them were that funny. They were some of them were a little chuckle worthy, but they weren't that good. They were pretty mid. I don't know. I think the commercial people were kind of slacking a little bit from this year. Also, I thought I saw something pregame that kind of, sort of made me nervous. Everything was fine until I saw this. I know, that's terrifying, too. Terrifying. But they ended up winning the game. All the Swifties can party, and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are making out in midfield. But I had already turned the game off by then because nobody wants to see that. But aside from all that, that was about it. Having the Super Bowl recap. Comment down below what you guys want to hear me talk about next, and I'll see you boys in the next video.